Is Coach K a psycho? From the outside, when you watch a lot of situations unfold, it seems like a lot of things that he does seems very calculated.
Uh,
And and yeah, so I'm wondering, it's like, is Coach K?
well, I guess when because my version of a my definition of a psycho, I also use the word sicko interchangeably about when I talk about people.
Gotcha.
And like, what's your sort of
I guess
definition?
psycho's pretty hardcore.
Over the top.
Yeah,
too
very over the
much,
top, a
really
little
demonstrative
aggressive.
on players.
Mm.
Hardcore makes you feel less than a lot of the time.
Narcissistic.
Narcissistic.
Like, understands
He's
the,
better
the
than.
manipulative game that he can do with players. I mean, you played for him. There's been a lot of.
I wouldn't. I don't. I think manipulative is the wrong word. I think the word you used about calculative, I think that's probably more appropriate. I don't. He's definitely not a narcissist. He's definitely not a psycho in sort of the traditional sense. He is very intense and he's very demanding, but he's a truth teller. He is always a truth teller. And my 4 years with him, I say this sincerely. Like, my 4 years with him, I never saw him have a bad day.
Mm.
Like, not what he's on.
Consistent.
He's on every day. We get back from Virginia Tech on the bus at 3 a.m. We lose meeting. We're in there for an hour. We got practice the next day. He's on the bike at 6 a.m. He comes to practice energized, ready to go, ready to coach. He's like that with every team he's ever been on. He's so invested and takes such ownership, or did take such ownership of being a coach, being a Duke basketball coach, like that program. He's phenomenal. And I get to a degree when someone sees him motherfucking a ref or motherfucking a 19-year-old, like, I get why people are like, oh, he's a psycho. He's a psycho. But like, I actually would say all the good shit that's said about him is true and then some. Like, my dad is the greatest man that I've ever known. I didn't have to look far for a role model. Coach is the second. Like, Coach is phenomenal. And I became friends with him my junior year, and we've been friends now for whatever that is, 17 years. He's like such an important part of my life, and it has been for, since 2000 when I committed. Like, he's the man. I love that dude.
Mm-hmm. After your little stint, your sophomore year, when you were brought back and put on a big schedule, did you and him ever talk about it? Like, reminisce maybe a couple of years ago about it? Like, hey, was worried about you there for a second. He ever give you the, hey, didn't know if you were going to make it?
We talked a little bit about it when he came on the podcast in the fall of 2020, but actually the moment we became friends and the moment that I felt like he wasn't just my coach was that following spring. We lost in the Sweet 16 to Michigan State in Austin.
Worst school.
Yeah, terrible. And I'd gone through all that my sophomore year, and then I got ACC Player of the Year, ACC tournament MVP, first team All-American. I got one of the National Player of the Year awards. I got the Rupp Award, and let's give it up.
My man just going off right now.
Hey, context matters.
Yeah, no doubt.
Point,
Yeah,
high point.
No,
right?
no
Low
doubt.
point,
I'm
high
with
point.
it.
So he called me into where we lose at the arena. We're all emotional. I'm crying, and we're getting on the bus. He's like, "Hey, come to my hotel room when we get back to the hotel." And we went in there and we basically talked about that. We talked about that day in May of 2004 when they dragged me into the office. We talked about that summer, everything I had done. We talked about the season. He talked about how proud he was of me. Like, I was a lifer at that point. Like, I was a Coach K lifer. That's badass. He was a friend from that point on.